Hello, everyone. My name is Mary. Thank you for coming back again. What we do here, what I do here, is to share with you things I've learned from older women. And by older women, I mean older Christian women, mothers of faith, like I would like to refer to them. I remember that in one of my videos, maybe the last one or the last, I I I spoke about passion and purity. I love passion and purity too much, and it's scattered everywhere in my book, my journals. 2021, 2022, 2023. I'm not ready this year at all, but I know that I read it last year. So it's a book I love. So I'm talking about another thing that struck me in Passion and Purity. Background story of Passion and Purity. Passion and Purity is the book Elizabeth Eliot wrote to show, to express the struggle between our feeling for Jim Eliot and the will of God. Yeah, that's what the book is about. So there was like an up and down of Lord, I love him, Lord, I love you. I will do your will, but I still love him. I will do your will, but take this feeling away. So it had this up and down, and coincidentally, they liked each other. They were in the same school, preparing to be missionaries, and they initially Jim Elliot was not planning on getting married because then they would always say that a man that is a missionary is not expected to get married because a woman is like a burden to his soul. Exactly. So he was not planning on getting married till he saw Elizabeth Elliot and he liked everything about her. He fell in love with her. They opened up to each other. But they could not carry on with their love because God was not assenting to it. Now, by God was not assenting to it, God was not saying yes, God was not saying no. So, and for them, and that's another thing we're supposed to pick. For them, if God has not said, go ahead, they are not going anywhere. If God does not say this is what it is not what it is, no matter how I feel about it. So it was a roller coaster of many feelings. And they waited to hear the voice of God for 5 years. 5 good years waiting, Lord, is it the one that you many things. God was saying other things about mission, about their lives, about what he would have them do. It was not as if God was fighting with them or they were in enmity or anything. But on this issue, God was just silent. So that's what birthed passion and purity. And that's why I said it's very relatable. It's very relatable. And of course, Gemelius was not a sinner. A very good child of God, a brother of God. But God was silent. So, and that's what led to this particular quote I'm going to say. It says, waiting on God requires the willingness to bear uncertainty, to carry within oneself the unanswered question, lifting the heart to God about it whenever it intrudes upon one's thoughts. I'll read that again. Waiting on God requires the willingness to bear uncertainty, to carry within oneself the unanswered question, lifting the heart to God about it whenever it intrudes upon one's thought. Waiting on God. As believers, I believe that, as believers, I believe that one way or the other, one point or the other, would wait on God for one thing or another thing. And that time is usually a time of uncertainty because sometimes God is saying, wait, what are we waiting for, Lord? Everything seems to be moving. What are we waiting for? Lord, you are speaking about every other thing, but you're not saying anything about this one. And all he's just saying is wait. Maybe yours is he has even given you the promise. He has said maybe yes or no, or anticipate this or this or this. And the only question in your mind now is when? When will you bring to pass that which you have spoken of? So waiting on God requires the willingness to bear uncertainty. And really, I think that's what trust is. That you are like, this thing is not looking like it. But Lord, you have spoken, and I believe it. To carry within oneself the unanswered questions, questions that you have been asking. You have many questions, and it's like the Lord is saying in every other thing, but over this issue, He decides to be quiet. Lifting the heart to God about it whenever He intrudes upon one's thought. And as it comes again, as it keeps bothering you, you bring it as an offering like God, brooding about it again, praying about it again, not just complain. Because most times when we're waiting on God, we complain a lot because we really don't know what is happening. It's very humanly. Like we don't know what we are waiting for now. We don't even know when this person will come. You're just complaining. What we expected to do in this time, although sometimes it's not very easy to come by, is to come bearing our hearts as the thought comes, as the fears come, as the uncertainties come, as the unanswered questions fill our minds again. You come and you say, Lord, I don't know what you're doing, but I trust you. I don't know what you're doing, but I trust you. One of the hymns I love says, even when my faith is small, trust in Jesus, that is all. So waiting on God is all about trusting God. It's not that you already see how things will turn out or you understand the turnout of things, but waiting on God is trusting in God. And the Bible is painted with that picture. Different people waiting on God for things for years, for years, for years, for years, for years. Hebrews 11 is a compendium of people that trusted and they believed God for things He has said. Some of them were not even alive to witness what God has done, like what God will do. When God promised Abraham that he's going to be father of nations, he just lived to see his promised child and maybe some other sons. They were not up to nations that God promised. But till the day of his death, he kept believing that this is what God has said. By faith, Joseph told them that we are going to leave this land, we're going to leave this land of Egypt. Please don't forget my bone in this place. And that took 400 years. But till the day of his death, he kept believing that we are going to live. Now, that time they were not even in captivity, but he knew that there was a time when they were going to go back to Canaan. There was a time they were going to go back to the promised land, and he believed. Waiting on God is not that we have all things sorted out and we're waiting for it to play out. Waiting on God sometimes that we don't even know how things are going to be, but He has spoken, and I trust Him. He has spoken, and I believe Him. I pray that even as God brings us always into the waiting room, we are patient to see Him do what He will do. We trust Him through it. We trust Him through it. Grace is released upon us as we come into that room, always in the name of Jesus. I pray that He will bring to pass all that He has said, all that He has promised, and be patient enough to receive all that He has, all that He will give, all that is forming in us, all that He's doing in us. It's to the end that we become more like Christ. It's to the end that we become more like Christ. We become more like Christ. We become more like Christ. I hope you have been blessed by this video. I hope you have been encouraged by this video, and I hope that you would also meditate on what has been said. I'll see you again in my next video. Don't forget to lay your hands on a copy of Passion and Purity. I'll see you in my next video. It could be something different. It could be Passion and Purity. Anyway, the Lord will lead us. Take care of yourself. Be fine. Bye.